And now more on the Democrats and their primary issues. Joining us now in the Situation Room, presidential candidate and former Senator Mike Gravel of Alaska. Thank you for joining us here.
Suzanne, thank you for that.
I appreciate that. I want to start off by talking about Iraq. Obviously, you have stated a very strong position to get U.S. troops out now. I want to play for you a top commander about what he said from Baghdad earlier this morning.
If those surge forces go away, that capability goes away. And the Iraqi security forces aren't ready yet to do that. So now what you're going to find, if you did that, is you'd find the enemy regaining ground, reestablishing a sanctuary, building more IEDs, carrying those IEDs in Baghdad, and the violence would escalate. It'd be a mess.
Senator, he says it would be a mess. There are a lot of generals, commanders on the ground who are saying it's not a good idea here to pull out those U.S. troops now. Does his opinion have any weight in persuading you?
Not in the slightest. In fact, he's dead wrong. He's assuming that it's all going to turn bad. The reason why it's bad is because we have troops there and generals like this that are trying to... Here, stop and think. He's saying that the Iraqis, their security forces, they're never going to be ready. They're just never going to be ready. These people have been around a lot longer than we have. We should get our troops out, and you'll find that Iran will help us end the civil war, and so will Saudi Arabia. Stop and think. Americans forget that Iran helped us get rid of the Taliban in Afghanistan initially, and were rewarded by George Bush calling them the axis of evil. No, these military, they're generals, and I'll tell you what, I'm very distressed over the fact, and there'll be some changes when I become president, I'm distressed over the fact that we got a bunch of yes generals that are out there sucking up to the White House. What we need is some independent generals, and I know some that say we should get out. Just as much as this person's saying we should stay there, I've got generals that will say we should get out, and they got 3 and 4 stars.
Clearly the president is saying that, you know, this is the policy. These guys are in line with the commander-in-chief here. Are you saying that they just don't, that they're lying to the American people?
I'm saying that they're sucking up to the White House, pure and simple. And what I want is, when I'm president, I want generals that will speak their mind. He's absolutely carrying the tone and the words of George Bush, and it's real simple. Here, stop and think of this, Suzanne. 80% of the people in Iraq want us out of there. Who the heck are we to say we're going to stay there because some general thinks it's okay?
Let's talk about what reports have shown out of the London terror plot just recently. They have shown that some of these doctors, these suspected terrorists, were trained by al-Qaeda inside of Iraq, and that what is happening is you have al-Qaeda inside that country training and exporting terrorists with the capability to go to Europe, to go to the United States. How do you argue to pull out U.S. troops now when you literally have that country becoming a breeding ground for terrorists?
Well, stop and think, Suzanne. We made it a breeding ground. The al-Qaeda was not there until we went there. And so when you say it's a breeding ground, they're already breeding, and we got all our troops there.
So how do you stop the breeding? How do you stop it?
Well, you stop the breeding by turning around and getting our combat troops out of there, and we can go after al-Qaeda. In fact, you'll be very surprised that you'll find the insurgents on the Sunni and Shia side, they will be killing al-Qaeda people, because these al-Qaedas are foreigners, and they do not discriminate against who they kill as long as they can create havoc inside of Iraq. So you want to solve this problem? Turn around, get American troops out, bring in the efforts of Iran, Saudi Arabia, Syria, Russia, Japan, China. They'll all come in and help stabilize the area. But you can't do that until we get our troops out of there and get that general home.
Now, you have been very critical of your own party. You have said that you're not convinced that the Democrats are going to get the president's seat here because they have not dealt strong enough in pulling out troops when it comes to Iraq. Have you seen any leadership from the the presidential candidates so far?
None at all. Stop and think. They could turn around. They're in the Senate right now. They got power. I don't have any power. I'm not there. Had I been there, I would have filibustered the resolution back in 2002. But I'm not there. They are there, and they could take command and show some leadership, and we could end our involvement in the war by Labor Day and have all American troops home by Christmas. We could do that if we had some leadership in the Congress. I've given them a plan, a piece of legislation legislation to introduce and the tactics to employ to create a confrontation between the executive and the Congress, and to let the people weigh in, and you'll see what will happen.
Very quickly, I want you to give us a report card, some grades on the Democratic leadership. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, what kind of job do you think she's doing?
I'd say
A through F.
A through F, a C minus.
C minus.
On the war.
On the war specifically.
Right.
And what about Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid?
C minus.
C minus. And what do you give?
And an F for the 4 senators in the Senate who could influence Pelosi and Reid to bring forth the tactics to end our involvement by Labor Day. They get an F.
Who are those?
That would be Hillary Clinton, Senator Obama, and Senator Biden, and Senator Dodd.
Thank you so much, Senator Gravel. Appreciate your time here on the Situation Room. And the next presidential debate will be in July 23rd in Charleston, South Carolina. CNN is teaming up with YouTube. It will be the first debate where all of you can submit your questions to the candidates online. And coming up